In today's video, I'm reviewing a 2014 Subaru Impreza. The Impreza has been offered on the US market since 1992 and is now in its 5th generation. The 2014 model falls into the 4th generation of the Impreza, produced from 2012 to 2016. Now, Subaru has been very creative with the Impreza, altering it in a number of different ways to appeal to a very broad demographic. And so with that, there are a number of different configurations that you can get with the Impreza. First of all, it's offered in either a 4-door sedan or a 5-door hatchback like this vehicle. On top of that, they have a performance variant of the Impreza called the WRX. The WRX has a higher output engine, firmer suspension, larger brakes, lowered ride height, and some changes to the body paneling. On top of that, they have a higher performance spec called the WRX STI, which offers increased performance and some unique styling cues. So not only can you get the Impreza in kind of this base form, but you can get it in a performance spec. On top of that, the Impreza is offered in a crossover variant called the crosstrek. The original version of the crosstrek was called an XV crosstrek, but they dropped the XV in later versions. With that, you essentially get an Impreza with an additional 1.5 inches of clearance and some different styling cues. And so it looks a little more like an SUV, but it's essentially an Impreza. On the styling front, I think the Impreza is a really great looking vehicle, especially within the compact car segment. Given the other options in this category, I think it's one of the leaders in terms of design. I think part of that is the fact that it has a little bit of that flavor of the WRX and the WRX STI. So you're getting a vehicle that has a pretty sporty appearance, but at a much more affordable price. But it's also just a really nice, clean look to the vehicle. It's also pretty unique. And I think part of that, again, goes to a lot of the shared components with the crosstrek, which is more of an SUV. And in general, I actually like the appearance of the crosstrek a little more. I think some of the styling cues go better on that vehicle. One of those being these mirrors, which are pretty massive. Great for visibility, not as much for aerodynamics or styling. And on the crosstrek, they look okay because of the SUV look of that vehicle. Likewise, these rear lights and that back bumper are pretty enormous and kind of blocky. They look a little better with that added lift. But at the same time, I still think on the Impreza they look nice as well. And with the Impreza, you do have the added benefit of better driving characteristics and improved fuel economy. So definitely some advantages to consider if you're looking at an Impreza or a crosstrek. If you get an Impreza, I'd strongly recommend going with the Sport package. I think that it gives it a nice enhanced style with these kind of titanium-like wheels and then that little trim piece along the bottom there. Just gives it a little more aggressive look than base versions. And the Sport package isn't really much of a premium in terms of cost over basic versions of the Impreza, which come with hubcaps. Definitely don't want those. Overall, a pretty great looking vehicle though. I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of any prior generations of the Impreza. I thought they were okay. But with this generation, I actually liked it enough to buy one. My wife and I had a 2013. We went on to get a crosstrek after that and then upgraded to an Audi. But there were a lot of good things that we liked about our Impreza and the crosstrek. The Impreza comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder that has just 148 horsepower and gives you a 0 to 60 time of 8.6 seconds. It can be had with either a manual transmission or an automatic. In the manual, you're going to see an EPA rating of 24 miles per gallon in the city and 33 on the highway, while the automatic comes in at 28 miles per gallon in the city and 36 miles per gallon on the highway. The interior of the Impreza is very attractive with a nice layout and a good quality design. Color choices and accents give it a nice premium appearance as well. I'm a fan of the brushed aluminum And then the white gauges behind the steering wheel gives it a sporty look. In addition to being attractive, materials are pretty decent. The steering wheel is not leather wrapped on this version, but it still has a pretty nice high quality feel to it. Certainly helps having some of those vehicle features on the steering wheel. So we got audio controls, some voice activation and Bluetooth features, cruise control over on this side. And then the other thing that gives the vehicle a nice premium feel is that the dashboard is a fairly soft rubber. So it gives it a nice sturdy feel. Again, the Outback Sport is one of the entry-level trim packages, and it comes with a pretty nice level of standard features. Got AM/FM radio, CD, Bluetooth. Right here we've got heated seats for both the driver and passenger. Power mirrors, power door locks, power windows. And the vehicle is also very comfortable. It's got a nice feel to it. Very ergonomic. And jumping into the back seat, the Impreza has a very spacious rear seat. It's one of the great things about this vehicle. Despite the fact that it's a compact car, the rear seat comes with a huge amount of legroom and headroom. So I'm 5'10". See, there's more than adequate. This seat is positioned where I'd want it for driving the vehicle. And so, despite being pretty small, they really have managed to expand the cabin for the passengers and give you plenty of space. Not a lot back here to show you in terms of features. Again, this is kind of an entry-level model from Subaru, and the Outback Sport model is fairly basic, but it still has a nice overall appearance to it. You have the power windows. And then jump into the back with the hatch. It's actually a fairly small cargo area, but for a compact car, it's plenty. Wouldn't expect that much more. They definitely use as much space as possible for the rear seat. So you get a lot of legroom up there. The exchange is that the cargo space is a little limited. And you got this little cover that you can use to close in objects. So when we close the hatch on the vehicle, you can't see down in there. It gives you a little bit of privacy. So to be completely honest, the Impreza underwhelms a bit when it comes to handling and performance, along with much of the Subaru lineup. There are some exceptions with the BRZ, the WRX, the STI, and a few other models that come with a 3.6 liter V6, which offers a pretty good level of performance. But unfortunately, in the Impreza, the performance underwhelms. When it comes to accelerating or passing other vehicles, it really struggles, and it lets you know, making a lot of noise, revving very high. In addition to that, the refinement of the vehicle is not perfected. It's a little bit jittery, and just the overall quality of the ride is not that great. You do have to keep in mind that this vehicle comes in at a pretty competitive price point, but again, even within that segment, there are a number of other compact vehicles out there offering better ride quality than the Impreza. Now, with that aside, there are a lot of highlights with Subaru. The first being the fact that they have a great reputation when it comes to reliability and durability. It is not uncommon for Subarus to get up to 300 or 400,000 miles. And so that's a real highlight for the Subaru brand, is that they have a great reputation for reliability and durability, and it leads a lot of people to overlook some of those imperfections. Now, the other highlight for the Subaru brand is that with the exception of the BRZ, they come standard with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, which is an excellent system. Results in really good handling, not only on dry pavement when you're going through corners or curves, but also in snow and ice. They're great vehicles. And a lot of northern climates, Subarus tend to be very popular vehicles. Not only because they offer really good all-wheel drive, but they come in at a competitive price and they're dependable. And so those three together make them a great option to consider for many buyers. Overall, the Subaru Impreza has a lot to offer and is a really great, well-balanced vehicle. It gets great gas mileage, it's capable in the snow and ice, and it's reasonably priced. In addition to that, Subaru has some of the best resale value of any automaker on the market, and with that, it reduces your cost of ownership during the time that you have the vehicle. If you have any comments or questions, leave those in the section below. For more car reviews, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.